Okay, so my first question, which came from my other page and it's anonymous, is how do I know that I'm pregnant? Um, so first off, to be pregnant, you have to have had sex. And um, if you used your protection correctly and you are either on birth control, the risks of becoming pregnant are lower. But if you are having sex, then the possibility of being pregnant is always there. Um, Now, the symptoms of being pregnant, a lot of women are different. Me, for example, I don't get any morning sickness. Um, I get really tired and I'm hungry all the time, but not no morning sickness. So one of the examples is morning sickness. You might be sick. Um, I know a lot of women are always tired, um, emotionally, like crazy. You kind of feel depressed. Your boobs are really sore. You might get what feels like your period is about to come. Like if you, it is usually the same type of pains that you get when you're having your period. Like for me, example, I get back pain, and a lot of women get it in the frontal area, like your uterus area, um, but I get it in my back. So when I was pregnant, I would get little spasms in my back that would feel like my period was coming on, but it would go away and would be completely gone. And then an hour or two later, it'd come back. So I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm going to start my period. I'm probably not pregnant. Um, but then it would go away, and then a couple days would go by. So another sign is if you're late on your period. Um, I don't know if you keep track, but normal periods are 21 days from the end of one period to the beginning of another. 28 days from the, well, okay, sorry. The normal cycle is 28 days from the beginning of of one period to the beginning of another period. So, um, an average period is like 3 to 7 days. So you should have between the end and the beginning about like 25 to 21 days of not having a period. So if you don't follow that, try to figure out when your last period was and when this period should be. If you're irregular, then I don't really know how following your period would um, help in that. But for the most part, if you follow your schedule, then you can know that if you're late or not. Another thing that can cause you to have a late period is stress. Um, so if you're having a really stressful time in your life right now and your period's late, then don't automatically think that you're pregnant. But if you are having the symptoms like your boobs are really sore and you're tired and you're hungry and or you're sick or you're breaking out and you don't normally break out, or if you don't normally break out when your period's about to come, um, you know how the day before your period you're usually emotional. Um, you're gonna be like that kind of all the time, and sometimes it's hard to understand why we're like that until we realize, oh, okay, my period's here, duh, that's why I was acting like that. And so it's kind of harder when you're pregnant. You just feel up and down and you don't understand why, but and then your period never comes, so you just feel a little off. um, so the best way to find out if you're pregnant is to take a pregnancy test. And the key thing to pregnancy tests is there's never usually false positives. If it comes up positive, you're going to be most likely pregnant. If it comes up negative, then it could possibly be false. It If you're way past your period and it's negative, then go to the doctor. You might have something wrong with you besides pregnancy, but it also might be that the pregnancy test just doesn't work on you. False negatives are way more common than false positives, and false positives are usually only seen after you've had a baby, or if you're like right after you've had a baby and you think you're pregnant again, your hormones are still really thrown off. Um, so, yeah, if it comes up positive, go to the doctor and get a for sure confirmation of that. And if it comes up negative, don't just write it off as you're not pregnant. Um, but for the most part, if it comes up positive, then you're pregnant. And another thing to pregnancy test, if you're not going to take one that clearly says pregnant, not pregnant, if there's two lines and two lines means pregnant, it means that if the second line shows up at all, period, if it's there, regardless of how light or dark it is, means it's a positive. If it's supposed to be a plus sign, which means positive, or just like a line or a plus sign, does that make sense? Um, one of the lines will show up all the time. So don't be alarmed if that one shows up. But if the second line shows up, making it a plus sign, at all, even if it's really, really faint, it means you're pregnant. That was something that I didn't realize when I was first pregnant, that even if it's really, really light, it means you're pregnant. So it won't show up at all if it's a negative. So I hope that helps with that.